Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Wicked Good Show. I am your host, Dylan. I'm here with my other host, my pal, my buddy, my best friend, my amigo, Brian. What's up?
What's up, Dylan? I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing good. We got a little bit of a nice, relaxed episode this week.
Yeah, I think people will like this in a surprising way, much like we felt about the movie we're covering.
Yep. So today, very unplanned, we are reviewing Ready or Not, the 2019 dark comedy slash horror film, if you want to call it that, which Brian and I went and saw spur of the moment after work last week, and I think we both liked it a lot. We'll get into that shortly, but first there is some news
All right, let's get into it.
that we can kind of touch up on. Well, first, Joker still getting high praise. It apparently it won the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival, which
Very
is like
nice.
that one of the highest awards you can get. The previous two winners were Roma and The Shape of Water. So obviously Shape of Water won Best Picture in 2017. Roma was a heavy favorite, did not end up winning in 2018, and then now so you have the Joker. So I say, I think this is now propelled past Star Wars.
In terms of hype for you,
Yeah, I think that I am now all in on this movie. It's either go big or go home. Apparently, Phoenix somehow, because I thought Leonardo DiCaprio gave the performance of his career in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Apparently, Phoenix is better.
oh my god,
So
I couldn't be more excited for this, honestly.
we're locked and loaded. We have about 3 weeks to go until it comes out, give or take a few days. But buddy, I'm excited. It was tearing it up at TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival. I think they did something where they canceled their award ceremony. It's a good pre-Oscar indicator for the people that win at these things. Apparently, Renee Zellweger and Scarlett Johansson are the heavy favorites for Best Actress this year. For Renee Zellweger for playing Judy Garland and Judy, and Scarlett Johansson in I believe it's called a marriage story.
Okay.
It's her and Adam Driver. It's going to be a Netflix movie, but it's also going to be on the theaters. Apparently, it's unbelievable, and she's
cool.
unbelievable in it, even though she said some problematic shit recently.
Listen, if Scarlett
Shut up.
Johansson can just stop talking, I think that'd be good.
Stop backing child predators.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
I saw it funny too. It was like Scarlett Johansson. It feels like she made a deal with the devil that like she'll have an amazing career, but every few months she has to say something really terrible.
Just want to say, this is an anti-Woody Allen podcast.
I can co-sign that.
Just throwing that. I think he makes below average movies. This is an anti-Woody Allen podcast.
Yeah, I've never really watched his movies because I learned about him before I saw any of his movies, and I was like, I'm okay. I don't need to.
You don't even need to keep the discussion going from here. So Joker, man, yeah, I can't wait. I think it's past Star Wars now because there's just so much hype there now, and part of the scariness of it is that now there's so much prospect to fail too. You know what I mean? It could be that now it's overhyped, but I
Right.
think this is going to be, for basically what I read, this is going to be something that we basically have never seen before, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
To be able to take a genre like the superhero comic book genre where it's at right now, and if they're going to do something like flip it on its head and make it basically like a drama, like they're just going to start turning superheroes into dramas now, I'm here for it. Because I would love for something as crazy as the Joker, and apparently it throws a lot of references to major comic books, things like The Killing Joke, Death on the Family, things like that. Just a little like nods to that, which I really appreciate. But it's its own movie, it's its own story, and I can't fucking wait. This is now pushed to my front, my most anticipated movie of 2019.
Yeah, I want to like definitely mention and give credit to Warner Brothers and DC being like, okay, let's take this risk. We've tried this kind of like Avengers ripoff path. It didn't work out. Let's kind of go back to the drawing board and get back to what we're good at, which is making like high quality superhero films.
Yep.
You know, emphasis on films rather than movies, if that makes sense. Like more artistically challenging and interesting films. So I'm excited for this, man. I know there's obviously always going to be, you know, division amongst people online just because of the type of character that the Joker is, and what, some more like, I would say like edgelord fans kind of, go kind of glom onto him and maybe misinterpret what he represents and maybe idolize things that shouldn't be idolized. But I think if you can get past that and just like understand like this is just a fictional story and enjoy it for what it is, you'll have a good time with it from what we're hearing anyways.
So some of the news I actually just stumbled upon that we can kind of branch off of from the Joker.
Okay, yeah.
There is some rumors / leaks apparently of the Batman script, and spoilers, I guess, but we don't have no indication this is true or not. But apparently, it's based on the comic series Long Halloween.
Oh,
which
interesting. Okay.
I don't know if you've read. I've never read it. I know the premise of it, and I guess we won't go too far into it. It heavily involves Harvey Dent / Two-Face. I believe the Riddler, the Penguin, and a nonsensical villain called Calendar Man, which is interesting.
The most comic book villain of all time.
Yes, Calendar Man.
Honestly, we definitely talked about this, and I said the same thing on some other podcast that we
Calendar
did.
Man?
Yeah, where we brought up Calendar Man, and I said it was the most comic book villain of all time, because it is.
Yeah, I guess so. So I'm actually, because I'm trying to find a quote for our next topic that we'll be talking about, and I just stumbled upon that. So very interesting. I the Long Halloween, I know of it. I've never read it. I it's something I would be very curious how they bring it to the screen. But speaking of a movie, I really can't wait for that the Batman, which I believe it's still being called with Rob Pattinson. Can't wait.
Yeah,
can't wait.
Very excited.
On to our next kind of our big news, which is really great for us, great for the pod, because something we'll be reviewing, and apparently it's quote unquote astonishingly good. I am actually quoting Scott Wampler again on Twitter, who we quoted last podcast, Scott Wampler BMD. He has a lot of good. He's certified. He has a lot of good movie takes. He said Ad Astra is astonishingly good. I fucking loved it. Exactly what I wanted that movie to be, and then some. And he said Ad Astra starts off a bit like a less esoteric version of Soderbergh's Solaris. Takes you through a number of wild-ass set pieces. There's a moon buggy chase on the moon that's borderline Mad Max-ish, and then turns into a space apocalypse now, referencing Apocalypse Now. This is this movie might be tied with Star Wars.
Right.
Apparently, Ad Astra with Brad Pitt is fucking incredible. We just talked about it this week. I think you and I are now going to go see it in IMAX.
Yes.
Which will be nice. I haven't seen a movie in IMAX since I saw Aquaman solo, Brian, by myself.
I'm sorry about that. Again, I still have not seen it.
Still have not seen
to a tone.
First live action movie.
It's a complicated story, Dylan. I have complicated feelings about Aquaman being adapted.
But Ad Astra, apparently unbelievable. That is actually the next movie that I think we'll be reviewing after this week. Well, potentially Hustlers, which we'll be talking about soon. But Ad Astra comes out next weekend. It's I think you and I are either going to maybe see it Thursday night or that Friday night. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, whatever. I'm down. Just let me know. And I'm so excited for this film. Again, anything with space. Sign me up.
Brad Pitt, Tommy Lee Jones. I feel like it looks like such a mystery. Like we don't really know what it's going to be. But to have it compared to Apocalypse Now and Mad Max, that's just such a wild. Like that's just not something I thought this movie would be. And it's very very intriguing to me. I really can't wait. And apparently Brad Pitt's actually better in this than he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So maybe
what the hell?
Brad Pitt-assance is apparently fully on right now. Maybe him breaking up with Angelina Jolie was the best thing that's happened to him.
You can just focus on movies now. I feel like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was one of his best performances ever. So this is going to be very interesting.
Yeah. So it's only a week away. I think we're going to be trying to do it a lot more when we review movies that we're going to be doing. Or like we're going to either be reviewing them the night over, the day after, so we can get it out fresh, which is great. So there's no pause in between. We've talked about we're going to be doing show reviews. We were going to be reviewing them the night of and maybe dropping it the day after. So
some big things, yeah.
this is a really big fall for Wicked Good Everything, for Wicked Good Show. I'm really excited, and it starts with what seems to be an outstanding fall of movies, which is awesome. It's great for us, especially after that shit show with It Chapter 2. To kind of go into the movie we're reviewing today, it is great. And apparently another movie that we actually, I don't think we shit all over it, but we said we were going to wait and see what the reviews are. But we thought the potential was there for it to be very, very bad. Is Hustlers, starring Jennifer Lopez, Constance Wu. I do have the IMDb up. Is it directed by Jennifer Lopez too?
Oh, I don't know.
Am I making that up? I think I'm making that up. But anyway, stars Jennifer Lopez, Constance Wu, Julia Stiles, Keke Palmer's in it, Lily Reinhart, and Cardi B. Who the fuck directed this movie? I need to find it. Is it Jennifer Lopez? I don't think. Is it? Is it? I don't remember. Anyway, apparently very good. It has a 87% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, which is actually higher than Ad Asher on Rotten Tomatoes. So apparently this movie's very good. Only an hour and 47 minutes long. After our shit with It, any short movie, which we will also be referencing shortly, is a plus to us. And Brian, I know you're going to see it this week too, so we'll have a little insider.
So I looked it up. Lorene Scaffara is the director.
Yep.
She's known for Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, which is really good, and Seeing a Friend for the End of the World, which is pretty alright as well. So
pretty alright is the best thing you could say about that movie, but yes. So I'm now excited for this. I think that we could officially maybe replace a review of the pod for Hustlers to take away the Goldfinch, because also apparently Goldfinch fucking stinks. It is currently sitting on Rotten Tomatoes with a 24%. I heard it is just a fucking snooze fest that really just did not need to be made into a movie, at least not in the way it was. So I can confirm we will not be reviewing the Goldfinch.
Sorry, you've been bumped for Hustlers. So
for Hustlers,
what an interesting turn of events.
Any other movie that's not 24%. So, so I'm really excited. Kind of a small week of news, but some exciting movies to come out. But there is one more thing that we're gonna quickly touch on before we get into our review. That is that there is another Game of Thrones prequel that has been greenlit for HBO. This one is going to be written by George R. R. Martin and Colony co-creator / executive producer Ryan Condal, and it is based on the House Targaryen 300 years before the events that we just saw on TV in the mothership show Game of Thrones that I believe you've heard of.
Yeah, maybe people have heard of it.
And a joke you actually said before we came in the pod, and it's very true, is that if George R. R. Martin is writing and producing this show, his book is
it's over. It's over. Who cares?
There is now. I am putting at maybe like a 5% chance that A Dream of Summer comes out, and the only reason I'm giving 5% is because my theory is that he's been co-writing them together. But yeah, those books ain't never coming out. But at least we're gonna get a show. And honestly, the Double D's are nowhere near involved. This is obviously probably gonna have a budget, just because they've seen the fandom that these shows pulled in. That's pretty fucking massive.
Right.
And if D&D's not involved, George R. R. Martin is, some fresh faces, sign me up, because I think the world of Westeros and its history, there's so much more than they can go off of, especially stuff that's the story's solidified. This is all gonna be based on his Fire and Blood book, which is based on the history.
Really cool. Yeah.
Yes. So count me in. I can't wait. I can't wait for more Game of Thrones stuff that now that the D&Ds are gone.
Yeah, I think honestly the best thing they could have done was to rebuild up hype would be to bring George R. R. Martin in to be in charge of this. Obviously a lot of people felt burned by the end of Game of Thrones, and of course that was not a franchise that the HBO wanted to just forget about, so they had to do something. And I think this is big enough for people to be like, oh yeah, I'll come back and give this a shot. The more diehard, and then the more casual people will be like, oh yeah, more Game of Thrones, fuck yeah, I'm in.
This is really the first time since the show ended, because every time I think about Game of Thrones, anytime I hear Game of Thrones brought up, I basically get sick to my stomach.
Right.
I don't actually up, but I get mad pretty much. It's something I really don't know if I'll ever go back and watch Game of Thrones, just because I know how it ends, and it pains me to say, because basically the first 6 seasons are near perfect television, especially 3, 4, 5. So this brings back a little hope for me that we're gonna be able to go back to Westeros. There's so much lore and history that George R. R. Martin basically wrote like 2,000 years of history. Like just the world building he did for this is massive. It's textbook the shit that he's done, and it's gonna be really nice to not have every single fantasy show that is coming out be compared and asked if it's the next Game of Thrones.
Yeah, because this actually is.
I'll probably just say this is probably the next Game of Thrones because it's set in Westeros. Like I don't need the Lord of the Rings TV show. I don't need The Witcher, and I'm pretty sure we've said it on the show, and it's a term I want to stop using. Is this the next Game of Thrones? Fuck that, because I technically don't want any show to be the next Game of Thrones because I don't need any show to literally just like bring my mood down for 2 weeks because of how fucking awful it ended with writers that don't give a shit. But Benioff and Weiss can't hurt us anymore. They're not involved in this. I'm sure they'll probably get some bullshit producer credit when they have nothing to do with the show, which is great. Yeah, they can go do their fucking Star Wars series.
Yeah.
But I'm in on this. I'm looking forward to it. It probably will be several years before we get it because the other Game of Thrones show, which I have no idea what it's even about. I believe it's been cast. I don't even know if they've shot any of it. I don't know if there's even a timetable for when it's going to come out. But whatever that's going to be, sure. But now, if this is going to be based on House Targaryen, which a lot of fucked up shit went on, a lot of cool shit went on, we're going to obviously get a lot of dragons because there were a lot of dragons back then.
Oh, yeah. We're stretching that CGI budget.
Man, I can't wait. Because technology when this show comes out is going to be advanced than what it is now. So count me in. Maybe just keep Ghosts. Don't cut Ghosts. Some direwolves.
Yeah, I mean, this would be before direwolves really died out of Westeros, I think. So...
I think it would be cool too to see some older House Stark, like some of the older houses. I think that would be cool. It would be nice to get like
Bran the Builder up in here.
We're not dealing with any of the consequences of how the show ended. It's all a prequel. I think all the shows that they plan to come out are prequels. I don't really know how they would come out with sequels. So
yeah, no one wants to touch a sequel series right now. But sorry.
I was gonna say that's our news for the week.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of interesting stuff for us to look forward to. Dylan, are you ready to get into this review?
Let's do it. Baby, ready or not, Brian and I went and saw it on, was it Wednesday? It was Wednesday.
Yes.
It was Wednesday, yes. Right. Ready or Not came out 2019, obviously. I think it's been out for about 3 weeks now. Starring Samara Weaving, who I thought she was fucking awesome in this movie. I thought she was great. Adam Brody, Mark O'Brien, Henry Czerny, who you may know from Sharp Objects recently, Andy McDowell, a couple other people I have no idea who they are, and this guy Christian Braun, who played my boy Fitch, who I will be getting to in this movie, who I thought was the funniest person in this movie. Brian, ready or not, it's labeled a horror. It's definitely a comedy first and foremost, a dark comedy at that. I had some time to sit on it. I'm actually giving it a 79 out of 100.
Nice.
When we first left the theater, I was very high on it, and I told you I think I might make this a 90.
Right,
I have some small issues with it that we can get into in the spoiler section. But overall, this is just a really fun movie. It's a mindless go to the theater, shut the brain off for an hour and a half. After seeing it, this movie's half the runtime of it. That's how goddamn long it was. An hour and a half.
It wastes pretty much no time. Get right into it. Get in, get out.
Just gets right into it, explains what the story is. We'll get into that a little later. I liked it a lot. I'm not gonna throw the love it on there. I liked it a lot. I think a 79 is a really good rating for a movie like this. Something that we had zero expectations for. I don't think we had any plan to review it, but I loved it. And then like one thing I will say, I think Samara Weaving is like the craziest crossover between Margot Robbie and Emma Stone that I've ever seen before.
Oh yeah, she could definitely be.
Because if you look at the poster for this movie, it looks exactly like Emma Stone, but then during the movie, I'm like, holy shit, this lady looks exactly like Margot Robbie. Like, it's unbelievable. But yeah, 79 out of 100. Brian, what did you think about it?
I thought it was definitely a decent movie, very along the lines of, we've seen like a movement to like to I guess implement comedy within like other genres lately. I would say like we've moved kind of further away from having straight comedies. You know, we don't necessarily have like the Judd Apatow type of movies too often anymore. But what we have seen is a lot of like comedic elements being added to like action movies, being added to horror movies. You know, I always think of Cabin in the Woods as one of the first like straight comedy horror movies that I've ever seen that was like really well executed. I'd say this is in a similar vein to that. Like you said, it's 90 minutes. It doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome, in my opinion. And for me, I think this is like the perfect. You don't have anything to do on a Friday or Saturday night. You want to go see a movie. You're not sure what to see. Go see this. You'll enjoy it. If you're a fan of horror, you'll enjoy it. If you're a fan of comedy, even like you said, it's super funny. And yeah, for me, I'm giving this one a 5 out of 10.
Oh God, that's really low.
But
5 out of 10.
it's a horror movie, so for me, like I always like. There are definitely moments when I was watching it where I was like, okay, I pretty much got how this movie's gonna end figured out like 5 minutes into the movie. You know, once you see I even like during the movie whisper to you, I was like, okay, that's that person. This is what's, you know.
So you enjoyed it more than you enjoyed this movie?
I did. I thought it is a better movie than this movie.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it. I guess how to put
this is the confrontation, Brian.
I liked it. I did like it, and I think for a horror movie, it's decent. But I think if I had to like give it a tomato rating, I would say it's fresh. You know, like 5 being on the border of fresh rotten. It's not going to challenge you in any way, and it's a little like silly, and some of the jokes don't land that well for me, but I think it's a good time at the theaters. I just think it's like a more well put together movie, in my opinion.
I think the reason I rated it so low too is that it's exhausting because of how long it was, and it's exhausting because I just thought the story itself was exhausting. Where Ready or Not, like we said, it's literally half the runtime of it. It doesn't have the exhausting strain that it had, and I honestly think where that took away 10 points from it, I think that this added 10 points to Ready or Not.
Gotcha.
Honestly, but yeah, I mean it's good. It's dark comedy for sure. I have a real hard time calling this a horror. I think it's more suspense than anything, but it's a dark comedy first and foremost. And I could totally see if there's jokes that don't land with people. For me personally, there's a lot of jokes about murder, and it's as somebody that listens to the last podcast on the left and shit like that all the time. I found it very, very humorous, but I could totally see if it's not for everyone. I think I could see a lot of people giving this movie like a 20. I could see that happening. I'm a little surprised you gave it a 5 out of 10 because I thought you enjoyed it a little bit more. But
I did enjoy it. I did.
I totally understand what you're saying. I'm not score shaming you at all, but this is a crazy movie where I think it could be like a 20 or an 80 clearly. So, but I think it's fun. This is something you can rent when it comes out. If it's out now, I don't know. Maybe if it could be available to stream by Halloween. Like I said, I don't think it's scary, but I think it's a great. Just shut your brain off on a night with you're home with the wife or the kids or the husband. Boyfriend, girlfriend. I think this is a real cool movie to watch. It's a breeze, only an hour and a half. I liked it a lot. I have my issues that we'll get into right now in spoilers, but a thumb and a half up for me.
Yeah, I think for me, like my first initial reaction, when it was over, I was like, that was dumb, but that was fun. And then if we're seeing like a 1,000-foot view, it does a lot with the horror genre that Cabin in the Woods does, but not as well, if that makes sense.
I don't think it goes as off the rails as Cabin in the Woods.
No.
For sure,
nothing goes as off the rails as Cabin in the Woods.
No, because it's Cabin in the Woods. We should do like a whole separate like mini review for Cabin in the Woods because I have some thoughts on that movie, but. Yeah, this movie, it's such a ridiculous idea that you cannot take it seriously, which is also why I think the horror element to it is just not there because the idea itself is just so fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember what was brought up in the trailers or not, so I'm just categorizing that as spoilers that we'll get into. But yeah, the idea as a whole is just absurd, which adds to the fun of it, which adds to the comedy of it, just how seriously the family takes this whole premise.
Mm-hmm.
And it honestly worked for me. And I like I said, I totally understand if a lot of jokes failed for some people, but for me, it did not. Another thing I want to note is that Adam Brody, I'd like to see him in a lot more things.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen him in a minute, and it was nice to see him in this movie.
Last time I saw him was in Shazam.
I haven't seen that, so that was
a little bit of a spoiler, but I guess not because you have no idea, no reference to it. But yeah, I would like to see him in a lot more things. He was huge when what was the name of the OC? Was that the show that came out that big for him? I think he was real big in that. And I remember he was in Mr. and Mrs. Smith with the guy that they have to kidnap. And then after that, like I feel like he just like fell off.
Right.
And then what was the other movie he was in? Grind. I loved Grind when I was a kid. The skateboarding movie. Oh man, that was the show. That was actually the first show I remember him from was Grind. Grind was awesome. Adam Brody, come on the pod.
Yeah, just come on. He's a Gilmore Girls. He was
after Gilbert Gottfried, we'll get Adam Brody.
Mm-hmm.
Gilbert Gottfried still first and foremost. We have not forgot about Gilbert Gottfried.
No, yeah, we need him on. Oh man! All right, Dylan, you ready to get into spoiler territory?
Let's get into spoilers. Everybody leaving. Shout out Brian Wong. Love you guys.
Yes. All right. 3, 2, 1. No complaining. If you're still here.
No. So no, yeah. Like I said, the idea as a whole is just so ridiculous. The whole thing about how I guess I also didn't fully understand that story where they were saying that, like his grandfather was like gifted this card of decks or this deck of cards that was in this little like box thing, and then each time it came out it was something that was like random, and then obviously we found out in the end, I forget the guy's name, like old Joe something, I don't even fucking remember what it was.
The ghost of... He
obviously was real, so as we found out in the end it was all real because they all actually blew up when they failed to kill Grace, who's played by Samara Weaving. That was obviously the point. You're already sold on ridiculous of the movie, but I'm still kind of like I didn't understand the whole backstory, and I heard this on another podcast talking about it. Like, do families that own gaming empires really have this much money? Like, I don't think
so. Yeah, no. So okay. So the grandfather, he wins this game. He figures out how to open the box. He gets given like this basically gift to succeed in business. He goes into a gaming empire. Then his son expands on that, and then the father, like the older guy, Henry Czerny, in this Tony, he said that he had brought the business to even more and bought like professional sports teams and stuff. Yeah. So that's where I'm thinking like they got their money like. He's invested in other stuff.
And I'm glad they explained it because, like I said, I don't remember what was explained in the trailers. I can safe to say I only watched the trailer once. But because at first you're thinking to yourself, like, how much of a fucking dickhead is this Alex to actually, like, willingly marry Grace and then bring her back here? I'm like, why would you bring her back here to play this fucking game? Like, if you want nothing to do with the family, and I'll get it to Alex. We can get it to Alex right now, actually. I think Alex is by far the worst fucking character in this whole movie. Alex sucks.
Alex is a bitch. I get it, like, okay, you're in love, but, like, honestly, if Grace really wanted to marry you and you knew that this thing, you gotta just not marry her.
Like,
and let her live her life.
He's a selfish dickhead. He says it when she first finds out. He's like, oh, you would have left if I didn't propose to you. I'm like, you fucking selfish piece of shit.
Yeah, let her leave.
Just let her leave. If there's even a chance somebody gets this card, and the whole turn he does, where he's basically telling his mom that, like, if it comes between Grace and you, I would have no problem killing you. But then when he stumbles upon Grace killing his mom, who he obviously knows was in there trying to kill Grace, so it's basically self-defense. And, like, he just turned, and, like, that's the big twist, is that he betrays her and turns her into the rest of the family after his brother already sacrificed himself. So, like, that's part of my question too, is I wonder if he thought that she killed his brother, that Grace killed Adam Brody.
I think it's even worse. I think it's just because he was like, oh, you're not going to be with me after all this, obviously.
Yeah.
And then he was like, well, if you're not gonna be with me, I guess I'll just kill you.
No, he sucks, and that is it. It is like Grace was awesome. Samara Weaving, her character as a
Yeah,
whole,
Grace is
I thought
great.
was
Daniel is redeemed. Everyone else, awful.
everyone else sucked. And now my boy Finch though. My boy Finch, he's a piece of shit, but man, he was awesome. I love Finch. The whole thing, I laughed out loud. Whatever, he was sitting in the bathroom watching the video, learn how to shoot the crossbow.
Right.
It's just that works so well. I thought that was so fucking funny. But yeah, Alex sucked. Just his whole story arc was just, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It was one of the issues I honestly had, where I just the Alex character and then his flip at the end where he betrays Grace. It's just right after he got done telling his mom that he would have no problem killing his mom for Grace. Like, it just didn't make, I thought it didn't make sense to me. It was like, it was sort of lazy writing to get there, and that was honestly what brought my score down when I really started to think about it. It was just that I don't know, that didn't really work for me.
I think the movie definitely had a issue with the ending. There were a lot of like, oh, okay, it's this, and then, oh no, twist, this happens, and it did it like 3 different times.
I mean, I thought it was awesome when they were all blowing up, and I think it was really good. Because I thought they were going the route where they were going to reveal that it wasn't true the whole time. They're all just going to like laugh it off and be like, "Fuck, we just killed 3 maids." The butler and my wife died.
And yeah, the son. Yeah, I was happy they decided for it to be real, because that makes it at least like, okay, there's a purpose to all this.
But then where does Grace go? Did she get found for murder?
Oh yeah, she's in jail. She's going to jail. 100%.
She has to be, right?
She's covered in their blood.
Like, how do you explain that?
There's no.
I guess like
this.
she could try to make it, because another pod I listened to basically said like, oh, they were definitely setting up a sequel, which hard disagree.
No.
Hard disagree.
Yeah.
I guess like she now realizes that power is real, but I don't think she at any point had to sell her soul to old Joe. We're just gonna call him old Joe for the rest of the thing. Sure. That's not. But I guess she was fucked. Yeah, I think she knew that, and I love the ending too. She's like, "What happened here?" She's like, "Oh, my fucking in-laws." Another issue I had was, and it really bothered me, and it's such a minor thing, but it really fucking bothered me, and especially in a movie where it's a shut your brain off and just enjoy it movie, is the scene where she steals the butler's car after he tries to kill her, and the OnStar, after she's been driving for a while, may I add you, she's been driving for a while, the butler ends up catching up to her, but the equivalent of OnStar, whatever they had it called, shuts her car off. Like, great, he said police is on the way. But then somehow the guy catches up to her, knocks her out, but he also somehow gets the car going again.
Yeah, I don't get that. And the police never showed up. I don't know.
It really pissed me off when that happens. I'm like, this is just lazy. So it's something so stupid and minor that it didn't affect the movie at all for me. But then like when I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I caught it in the moment when it happened to him, like why the fuck? How does he drive the car now though when she doesn't? Like, this is all like, it was just stupid. It was something really stupid that like it was just lazy writing. But it's that's the type of movie this is. It is a lot of fun. This isn't gonna be up for any Academy Awards. It's not gonna be up for any best writing. No. But it was as a whole, it was awesome. I loved it. It was the dark humor where they killed the daughter that could never do anything right. Super creepy fucking aunt was laugh out loud funny, and you did call it way well before they revealed it in the movie that she was the bride in the beginning flashback where we see young Daniel and Alex. It was that was this movie. It was great. It's a movie I would definitely see again. This is a great, like, if you're drinking, you know, you're having a little smoke, you know, you're hanging with the family. It's a good laugh. Fun. This is a funny movie. This is a funny movie.
Yeah, I agree. And my family, every Christmas we watch a horror movie in the morning. I don't know how that started, but this might be the one I bring to Christmas, you know.
Yep, as a regular family.
Yeah, just normal stuff.
Sure is.
This might be the one because I think it will be a good time for everybody.
Agreed.
And yeah, I'm very interested to see what Samara Weaving does next, because I thought she was good, like you said.
Just to say, I really hope to see her in more things, because I thought she was the highlight of this movie. Even though I thought my boy Fitch was hilarious, I thought the family was really good. But yeah, Samara Weaving stole the show. She was awesome. Would love to see her in more things.
Yeah, she's in The Babysitter also, which is another movie in this vein.
Oh yeah, did you watch that Christmas 2018?
I actually watched that. My brother was in the hospital for mono, much like
Oh
Jets
boy,
quarterback Sam
I was
Darnold.
about to say, see the quarterback of the Jets. Oh,
Yeah, sucks for them, but she's really good in that too. And if you liked this movie, I think you would like that also.
let's quickly see what she has coming up for her future movies before we get out of here. Because like I said, she is such a crazy mix of Margot Robbie and Emma Stone. It's like it's distracting to me at sometimes. So she
just
has
one sec, Dylan. What did he? What?
I was wrong. He's someone else.
Okay, you can come on in like 5 minutes and give us an update for that. Sorry.
all right. And that was talking Adam Brody again with Jenny.
Yeah, she'll come on in a couple minutes and give a correction for who Adam Brody was.
So apparently she's on a TV show called Smilf, which I've never seen. But she's also coming out. She's going to be in Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Interesting.
So seems to be the next time that we will see her. Who is she playing? Oh, she is. I don't know who she's playing, but she is in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Confirmed. Oh, she's playing Bill's daughter. Interesting.
Very
Okay.
interesting.
All right. Yeah, man. 79 out of 100. I will see it again. Obviously, people are still listening. They've heard me say that 300 times, but that was this movie. There doesn't have any.
She's in
Phil-
3 billboards also, I guess.
She's the daughter in 3 Billboards.
She's Penelope. Haven't seen 3 billboards, so I'm not sure.
3 Billboards in the Penelope. I don't think she was the daughter, but if she was, hot damn. Was very interesting.
Yeah, and she's only a year older than me, almost to the exact day. So that makes me feel terrible about what I've accomplished. So,
As you should, as you should.
all right. Anything else you want to touch on before we're done with this one?
I'm good. I'm gonna commit to it on the pod now, so we don't ever forget. Brian and I committed to it today. We're gonna be doing Rick and Morty recaps
Yes.
when the new season comes
So
out.
check that out. Make sure you obviously subscribe to all the channels. We're good at everything. Subscribe to this one so we can get to 100 subscribers. Go to twitch.tv/We Get Everything. Follow there. Follow us on Twitter at WG Everything, on Instagram at We Get Everything. Dylan, where can they find you?
DJ Clubber Lang on Twitter with 2 B's. DJ Clubber Lang. I'm never gonna spell it. Just spell DJ Clubber Lang.
And find me on Twitter at TheFakeBMar. Thank you guys so much for listening and have a great rest of your day.
I love you all.
So